Hey, welcome back to the podcast. You are listening to From the Garoffice with Micah Foster. And I haven't put out an episode in a little bit, but I've been talking to different pastors and ministry leaders who are utilizing digital, especially during this pandemic when everything is interrupted. Now, some places in some parts of the country are able to meet in person. Some churches are blessed with property that they can meet outside and still meet in that way. We, Two Cities Church, are still 100% online. And I had the opportunity to speak with Andy VomSteeg, the new pastor of Malibu Pacific Church, formerly Malibu Pres. And he has just started, like last Sunday was his first Sunday. So he is just there. And Andy was my boss up at New Vintage Church in Santa Rosa, California. And he started interviewing me on a Zoom call about the things that I'm learning from what we're doing. So this is a backwards interview. Andy from Malibu is interviewing me, and he started recording it for a staff meeting that he's going to have with this new staff. And they're going to digest some stuff together. And so I thought, well, why don't I share the recording with you as well? So this is Andy interviewing me on my podcast, which is very strange, but I hope you enjoy.
Hey, everybody. I just want to introduce you to Micah Foster, having a conversation about digital church, online church, and some things that they've learned, and sharing ideas. The best way to grow is keep being learners. So Micah, where are you? Tell us just really quick.
I'm in Fresno, California, Fresno and Clovis. If you know the area, it's right in the heart of California, the breadbasket of the world. Also, some of the poorest populations on the West Coast are close by. So there's a lot going on here. And in our county, we've been shut down since March. So we have not had in-person services since March. We did one thing in person to celebrate our anniversary at a park with a taco truck, socially distanced, mask, all the stuff. And we were formerly renting from a big facility here that we don't have access to. So we've been totally online. So we've been trying to do a lot of things, learning things, trying things, watching things, listening, trying to figure out what is the best course of action. So we're just having a conversation around some of those things.
And so, what are some of the learned practices, some things you figured out? Because you're 100% online right now, digital.
That's correct. We're 100% online. So one of the things that I've realized over the past year, especially in this time, is our leadership team was beginning to think a lot, but do less. And so what I've realized is I need to make some transitions in helping them become doers and activators rather than feeling like they're advisors. I don't need advisors. I've got advisors in all kinds of coaching groups and things. I need them to be on board and do something. You know what I mean? So not just think about it, not just brainstorm about it, but if we were building something, they need a hammer and nails. They need some tools and they need to go for it. So
is the hammer and nails now digital? Is that how you translate that?
Yes. Some of it's digital and some of it is not, because one of the things that I continually say is we need to find ways, even though we are completely digital right now, we need to find ways to be incarnational in our context. So we need to find ways to be with people, to be doing things with people. You may not be physically next to people, but you know what you can do? You can drop something off at someone's house. You can write them a note. You can do things that are tangible, tactile, even though we're digitally doing ministry right now. And many of us have been kind of cooped up in our own homes. Our family had COVID back in December, 22 days, in our house, just the five of us. I got 3 kids. It was wearing, but we're able to get out, go to the park, things like that. But still everything's pretty much shut down in our area. Our kids do go to school twice a week to the campus, and then they do the rest on Zoom at home.
So we naturally, church world, we went into this thinking mode. How do we do this? How do we put this together? What does this look like moving forward? We're reinventing the church. So I hadn't thought of that. We have really moved in towards a thinking, which is good, but now it's time to get back into application or implementation. And we can do something to stay connected with people.
That's right. And before everything hit, before the shutdowns, pandemic, everything, we had been on this journey of, and the question that I have been wrestling with and asking the last couple of years is, how do I help people give more of their life away? So how do we follow in the footsteps of Jesus, give our energy, time, money away to people? And so we've been trying to live this way. So some of the ways we've been doing that is interacting with the rescue mission here, and doing projects there, doing some things with other organizations in town, putting on community events in partnership with some other churches around Easter. We did this big outreach, reached like 3,500 people for like 3 years at a giant park, utilizing the city and their resources and pooling our resources. And so when the pandemic hit, all those things that we were doing in the community kind of just stopped. They just came to a complete stop because the government, the city governments didn't want to have any liability, and we just couldn't do those things. So in that transition, we lost some of that community outreach that we really want to help define us. And so we've been trying to do things that. So at the end of the year, like every church in America, because of the great tax advantages there are to giving, people become a little more generous at the end of the year. We always do a giving campaign at the end of the year. Well, this year, since our costs were lower, we didn't have to pay rent. We decided, and we didn't have as big of an impact in the community because of going online. We decided to raise money and give most of it away to those organizations instead of for our own needs. So that was a way that we could kind of turn, and be outward focused in something we were doing. And man, people loved that.
That's great.
And now,
excellent.
At the beginning of January, this month, I'm doing it's called the Love 100 Challenge. So we're extending that, like that idea of give, serve, love others, right? Give our life away. We're extending that, but it's not a financial thing this month. It's a do acts of love for others. So service or whatever it is, do acts of love, encouragement, buying someone groceries, whatever, some way that you can show love and value to someone else. I'm challenging everyone to do that. I'm believing we're going to do over 1,000 in the month of January, but I'm asking for 100 specific acts to be reported. So we're at 34 or something for the month right now. Most people are too shy. They're like, I don't want to tell you what good stuff I've done. I'm like, no, here's the thing. It's not so you gloat. It's so that we can spur each other on in love and good deeds, like Hebrews 10:24 talks about. And so we want to spur each other on in how we're following Jesus by reporting back. This is what I'm doing. And so how they're reporting is we have a private Facebook group for our church. It's called Two Cities Fam. And anybody who's a part of the church can be in that group, but it allows us to have sort of a digital space for private conversation. And I'll go live on there and stuff, and we'll interact. But they're just reporting on there. Hey, I did this for my neighbor. Hey, this happened. And then we get to see how God is using them in their context, how he's using them to love people, even in the midst of being shut down, even in the midst of many people being home, working from home, those sorts of things. So that's something that we're doing right now.
That's excellent. What else are you learning?
Well, one of the things that I quickly realized when we went online was I hate seeing just my face on the online service. I don't want it to be the Micah show. So I'm always trying to use different faces, different voices. We have a little countdown, our template right now, which we might change, because you change things. But our template right now is kind of a little countdown, and then a host that comes on and just gives some general stuff. This is who we are. Thanks for being here. Here's our mission. And then I try to get them to insert something personal that God is teaching them. And then they kick it over to me, usually, and I'll do a little intro, and then I'll kick it over to a couple worship songs, one or two, and then I'll do a message. And my message is only like 15 minutes. Yeah. And then I'll do either the host will come back, or we'll do a worship song on the back end, and then the host, and then it's.
So how many songs are you doing, to get really practical? And how long is your service?
2 or 3 songs, usually 2. The service is like around 30 to 35 minutes.
All right. Yeah. So that's watch time now, I think is 27 minutes nationally. Do you know the number?
I don't know the number. No,
I can't remember. Just the average, service watch times. So you're doing really well. So by cutting it down, you're getting higher percentage of watch time if
That's
you watch
correct.
the algorithms. Yeah.
And I don't know where I think where are you broadcasting? Where are you putting your service? I
That's
mean, I
a
know
great
it's
question.
on YouTube.
It's through the website, but that's a great question. I don't know. You could go on to the website and it's on the main page.
So here's
I'll
one
ask
thing.
everybody.
Here's one thing though, is that I'm less concerned because we have it live on they're live. It's pre-recorded live. So we edit it together and post it, and then we encourage people to watch it at the same time on Facebook. That's the number one place we want people to watch it. So we're at 10:30 a.m. on Facebook, and then I try to get our hosts, the people who are involved in guest services before we shut down, to be in the chat. So they're chatting and welcoming and talking to one another during the whole service. I don't want them to stop at all. I just want them to keep going.
And they're volunteers?
Yeah, they're volunteers. And I'm in there too. And so I'll have calls to action in the welcome or whatever. Hey, tell me your favorite, whatever in the chat. I'm always trying to point people to interacting in those ways because it helps the algorithm, right? And it gives them a greater sense of community and interaction. But I'm less concerned about the little number in the screen that tells you how many people are on live with you. And I'm more concerned with the total reach over the week. Because what we found is a lot of people, because they have this option, they will watch the replay because, family, kids, whatever, it's hard to keep that steady time. And then they'll go back later. They may watch it on YouTube instead of Facebook, which is fine. And on YouTube, a cool little trick is you can create in the description chapters. So you can kind of create spots for people to skip to. So you could say intro is at this time code, worship is at this time code, messages at this time code. And they can just click that little thing in your description. It'll take them right to that point. Because some people are just interested in one part of the service and they're going to skip through it anyways, but you're just making it easy.
That's great.
That's just one thing.
Good tip. Are you going Facebook Live then? Is that the service? Well, it's pre-recorded.
So it's called a premiere. So you upload it and it premieres at a certain time at 10:30 on Facebook. And then it treats it, Facebook treats it like it's live. So there's a live chat on the side and everything. So I'm not in front of a camera at that point. I'm sitting on my couch. I got my laptop in my lap for chatting, and I'm actually watching it on my TV through YouTube. So I've got a whole system I'm doing for our watching. That's what's happening. So it's love that.
And YouTube, you are leveraging YouTube, but you're seeing Facebook as a better tool to get the word out. It's
Facebook for us, because our Facebook page has a lot of likes and follows. It gets good reach. And then as people are interacting with it, I can see sometimes like their friends are jumping in for a few minutes, which is why I want us to do Facebook over, let's say, Life Church has a great resource for online church, right? So you can utilize, basically you can upload to YouTube and then show it through a specific, online church link that is yours. And you can have all this chatting and stuff and hosting and prayer requests and salvations of raising hands. It's a really cool tool, but it's not a platform in and of itself. So guests are harder to get there. But on Facebook, guests can pop in just for a minute or two and just see what you're about.
And then friends can easily share.
Yes. And they can share it after because it stays up. They can rewatch it.
That's good. Good stuff. All right. What else are you learning?
You can build church community online. I'm learning that. It's crazy. Right before the shutdown, my wife and I had just handed off our small group to another couple, and we were starting a brand new small group, actually in a little neighboring town just north of us called Friant, California. We were starting one. So we had one meeting, and then everything shut down, and all those people got scared. And so they all said, I don't want to meet. And I said, okay, let's do Zoom. And all those people said, I can't do Zoom. I just can't do it. So it was really funny. We had one great meeting. We had a whole plan, like schedule. Hey, we're going to do this. We're actually going to do Starting Point together, and which is a great curriculum for people who are seeking and starting. or coming back to their faith. But they all were like, I can't do online and we can't meet in person. So let me know, later. Yeah. Like, okay. So then I was like, well, let's start another new group and it'll be on Zoom. So we started one to be on Zoom. Now, what was great is there were people who could never come to a physical group who said, oh, I'll do that. Like they could never come before because of family, work, whatever. So the fact that it became so easy, the commute was so simple that they could just be on Zoom and we could talk. We're still going. There's 11 of us in the group.
Oh, great.
Very diverse group of people, single mom, young family, FBI agent, police officer, medical, like just all kinds of different people in this group. And we meet on Thursday nights. So we had our group last night, had a great time. And it's less structured than I've ever led of a small group because there's more happening. I feel there's more happening in our world that is that is hurting people and making them more anxious than I've ever seen before. And so a lot of times I'll just come with like, hey, we're going to talk about this section. Like last night, it was in Luke chapter 7. We're just going to talk about this section. And then we're going to kind of let open the gates and see what else is on your mind and have some prayer together. So it's less structured than ever before, but I almost feel more connected in that group than I have in the ones I've had in my home. It's just a weird deal. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's because we're starving for that connection.
Starving. Yeah. And the attendance I'm hearing across the country with Zoom small groups, let's say, is up. It's way up.
Yeah. In fact, if you look at, there's a church, I can't remember the church name, but they have a ministry that's a part of their church called Church Anywhere. Have you heard of that?
No.
Church Anywhere. Just Google Church Anywhere.
Okay.
They have, even before the pandemic, they started an online service called Church Anywhere that was aimed at reaching people who would not come to their campus. And so they've been adding small groups that have been based on just watching their service online. And there's a leader, who's like a small group leader, but they consider them like pastors and they consider these groups like micro sites, like multi-sites. And so it's just people, maybe they meet in an office building, maybe they meet in a living room, but their whole mission is to continue to spread the influence and spread of the gospel through this thing they're calling Church Anywhere. And it's just a local church.
The church is then, let's say, I don't know, some people gathering in Clovis and they're watching the service and then they are meeting together in small groups, let's say. So then that's becoming a sense of campus. Is that what you mean? Or maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Well, they're reaching outside their community with their online campus. So they have a physical campus that their local church meets in, but then they've created this church planting arm that's an online service that they're planting churches. So if several individuals were watching, and we learned this from North Point years ago with their online service, but if several individuals were watching together, they could do surveys and be like, you guys want to meet together maybe? And kind of encourage them to get together and watch together. And then out of that group, usually there's a leader that arises as the person who sort of organizes, and then they start trying to resource that person. So
to keep gathering, becomes a plan. Yeah.
It's a very, and like we've all known, like, sustained life change happens best in the context of community and small groups and those sort of things. And all the church, consultants have been talking about, hey, you got to have people need to connect in community or they don't stick, all that kind of stuff for a long time. But now we're forced to do it in like way more creative ways. But those creative ways allow us to reach a lot farther as well. So that's the benefit.
And I think it would be an answer to where we are, not only just during COVID time, but where we are in Malibu. There's so many micro climate communities.
Right.
I just think this is an incredible tool to be able then to do that. And instead of thinking everybody needs to come to the campus, we can actually even have churches that are digital churches in those communities that are a part of Malibu Pacific Church.
And even when, let's say you have, I don't know what the capacity of the building is where you're at. How many people does it hold?
I think they're going to have to correct me. I think it's 200, 230 or so.
Okay.
That's the number I think I heard.
Let's say you start reaching a lot more people. Well, you got two options, right? You can do multiple services, which is great for volunteers if you have two services, because then they can serve during one, they can go during one, all that kind of stuff. But then if you max out those, you got to start going evening or add a third service, and it becomes exhausting for everybody on staff.
Everybody. Yeah.
And so what if, you max out the building and the opportunity there, but then you're also saying, hey, you guys are driving from Thousand Oaks, why don't you guys meet together in your living room?
Just meet there.
Yeah. And you come to, we'll do special event.
We don't have to build any buildings.
Yeah. You don't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Your house is the church. Yeah, that's really good. Alexa, do you have anything else, Mike, as we finish up here?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. I think this is just a prediction. I don't know if this is going to happen. This is my thought. You know how church plants traditionally start as mobile churches. They meet in a school. They meet in another church in the evening or whatever. I think those will still happen, but I think more and more common, they'll start digitally. Their cost footprint will be much lower. Their gear footprint, their volunteer needs will be much lower. And then maybe they will, build that core to a point where they need a space. And then they go either portable, or they start probably more likely meeting in another church building in the evening to keep that cost low until they can finally get their own space if they want. But I also think there will be churches that come up that on purpose have small physical spaces, but are geared towards creating online content. So more like a studio space, or a 30 person room that they can do online stuff. I also think that Clay Scroggins has talked about this for years, but creating screen first content for digital ministry is important. So not just broadcasting what you do in the room, but thinking about the screen before, as another part of the ministry. So not just getting the leftovers from what you do in the room. So because of that, and because of the beautiful scenery you have the opportunity to do what Francis Chan did many, many years ago, go down to the beach and film a devotional on an iPhone. Man, I mean, how good are they now? So you can film something 4K. Real simple. But the scenery captures people, and the majesty of what God has created in that. I mean, you have so many spots up there. It's just crazy. You should go, if you haven't already, you should go up to Sarah Retreat. You just ask someone about it. It's up there. It's a great place for like some private devotion, some prayer, whatever. Just look at the views from there. I mean, there are so many spots where you are that would just blow people away. And I think having that kind of a spot also means you have greater potential for digital reach. I think people just want to see that stuff.
Because they want to see it. Yeah. Just even the name Malibu, I think we need to take advantage of it. There's just something about it. And so that captures, I think, people. So take advantage of it to reach people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good. Excellent. Very good. And content's very important. So screen first content. Think screen first. Again, we're broadcasting something we're doing here. No. This is for digital.
Yeah. I mean, even like we basically how we do our worship right now is I get a 3-piece band together. I get 3 to 4 cameras. We record to a digital soundboard, and we're in a living room, and we record about 10, 12 songs, and then we use them, couple a week. And then, on that schedule, we're only needing to actually record them, a few times, like every 3 months or something. It's not exhausting the volunteers. It makes it a lot easier if you batch record stuff like that, or even if you batch record, like if you're going to do a series, like batch record 4 messages and make them all 12 to 15 minutes, and then you have them all done. So there's ways to get it, I guess is what I'm saying, is there's ways to get a lot done in a shorter amount of time than you think. You don't have to go week to week, which is a beautiful thing.
I think we're still thinking that, recorded that message that week. Yeah, songs. We are doing every 2 weeks, but even go farther out. I mean, broaden that.
Yeah, if you can.
Even think whole series. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been talking with a guy, Journey, North County, San Diego area. He's a North Point partner. They got into an old theater, renovated it. They've been putting a ton of money into it. And then the pandemic hit. And they said they made the decision in November. We're going to get out of that lease.
Wow.
We're going to go to a creative co-working space where a lot of different photographers, videographers, people like that are renting offices, but they also have some rooms for like podcasting and recording different things that are already set up. We're going to rent an office there. They're closed on Sunday. So when things do open up, we can have a service in the coffee shop, a smaller, more intimate service. But our main thing we're going to do is we're going to put all of our eggs in that digital basket.
Whoa.
So I'm curious to see how that goes. They've got, if you look at what they've done so far on YouTube, they've been surviving, but now they're like, we're going to start making purchases to make this better. And his name's Jordan. So I got a ticket. I'm going to fly down there and check out what they're doing because I want to learn. And if that's a thing too, I think there's a lot more opportunity for collaboration in a digital ministry space. Let's say someone they just do the band thing awesome, and they share the files with 5 churches or whatever, and say, here, use them, or let's say Jordan and I say, hey, let's team teach. I'll do half a series, you do half a series, and then we can, you got more time to lead. So it's just, there's a lot of opportunity for shared resources in that way.
Man, that's just blowing up the box, isn't it? I mean, as far as it needs to be that pastor, they do this message.
Yeah.
You can be as crazy as you want.
Exactly. The worst thing about this is that my biggest temptation is if we go on vacation, I want to take a day and record a bunch of stuff because it's a new location. I want to take a day and I want to do 3 messages because we're somewhere new and it's a new background. So that's the hardest thing about all of it.
Yeah. But having the content that's for digital could be smaller, devotionals. I mean, you could still, again, spread the word and have church really all week long and keep people connected all week long.
That's the thing, is church is not something you go to on Sunday, right? It's a community you belong to. It's not a place you go. It's a people you know. So we got to stay connected.
Good. What's the last one? And then I think the staff got a lot of great information here today. Hey, very helpful.
I think, now this is specific to your context. I don't think we mentioned this. I went to Pepperdine as a former student who could see all the different college ministries that are available to them. There was really only 2. There was Malibu Pres and there was the on-campus stuff. I think if there's a way, now this could be big. If there's a way for you guys to somehow target, maybe it's Facebook ads, YouTube ads, TikTok going the right way, whatever it is, if there's a way for you to target incoming freshmen and try to get them into a come meet your other incoming freshman Zoom call. And then as soon as they hit the campus, you've got something for them to come. I think there's just something, college ministry is interesting because the turnover is crazy and there's dead parts of the year. But if you can get them to interact before they show up, I think that could be huge.
Wow. And obviously connected digitally, but like through Zoom and start building relationships that way.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't know where you get the names or how you do that, but
I think there's got to be some targeting you can do on Facebook. TikTok right now is pretty crazy. If you started a TikTok this is this is only if you're going to be an incoming freshman at Pepperdine. And then you hashtagged all these different Pepperdine related things or Malibu things.
There you go.
I think maybe you could hit the crowd. I mean, it's an experiment. You could try it at least.
Yeah, that's really good. Good stuff, man. Thank you, Micah. We'll stay connected with Micah, and hopefully we got some information here. I think this is our staff meeting, some great discussion points. So seriously, thank you, Micah.
If this is a staff meeting, I got one thing I want to tell you, staff.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
I want you to go to YouTube, and I want you to type in the words, "Meet the VomSteegs." That's all I got. Just type in the words, "Meet the VomSteegs."
Oh, actually, that was pretty brilliant for the time. But
okay, Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Here we go. That was good. Micah, thank you so much.
Well, I hope that was fun for you. It was certainly fun for me. I hope that you will subscribe and come back to the channel, listen to the past episodes. Until the next one, God bless.